When was the last time you wandered down a road just for the sake of it? And have you ever been to a place just because it is a place and you have 2 good feet? Some people will say you need a plan, but there's nothing wrong with not knowing where you are going. That world that's in your pocket is not the world. The world is the one that lies before your feet, and the people that we meet, the smells, the sounds, the sights, the skies. You see, I'm not sure what the secret to happiness is, but I'm pretty sure it starts when you go outside. Our story together started more than 10 years ago when we were both 18 years old and still in school. Back then we went on our first big trips across Europe on a very small budget, just did Interrail a few times and kind of liked traveling together.
So after school, we didn't really know what to do with ourselves because there were just too many options to choose from. So we decided to work for around a year and saved all the money we made during this process. And we were able to save that much money because we still lived with our parents, so we didn't have any expenses.
Yeah. Over that time, we had different jobs. I worked in retail at Hollister. I also worked at the post office. In the supermarket, I had several jobs at the same time. It was quite a hustle. And you worked at...
I worked in retail as well, at H&M for example, and also for a short time at McDonald's. Yeah, it was a great job.
Yeah. After that year, our parents said, now you have to do something. So we had to pick something we could study, but we didn't really have a clue what to do. So both of us studied on a teaching degree. I did German and English, and Sven did...
I did biology and sports.
In 2 different cities. So from that time on, we had a distance relationship. We only saw on the weekends, but it was quite okay. So back then, everything seemed to be fine. We were doing something nice in the eyes of our parents. But we were not that happy, I would say. We had a kind of a feeling of wanderlust in us. We wanted to see more of the world and not just sit in the library and read about it. We wanted to go out, explore, go on adventures and experience the world ourselves. And we couldn't do that during university.
And then we saw a couple online. They shared some videos of their travels and they were very inspiring for us. So we kind of thought of maybe just do the same thing.
Okay, so this couple was a German couple and they basically just started traveling from Germany all across the world with a small budget of only €5 per day and slept in their tent, etc. So we were like, why don't we just do the same?
So after 2 years of studying, we quit and we left our apartments. We bought several camping equipment like a tent, a gas cooker and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was so exciting.
And we started traveling.
This couple basically inspired all the rules we made for our little trip. The first one was that we only wanted to spend €5 per day per person, and the only way to make this possible was by hitchhiking. So we had no cost of transportation. We never tried that before, and we were also a bit scared that things could go wrong, but at the same time we were super curious about it and just thought we would give it a try. All the meals we cooked, we got from the grocery store and just prepared them on our small gas cooker. And for sleeping, we didn't book any hotels or something like that. We decided we would just do couch surfing, so we would stay with local people at their homes for free and just give something back by telling them about our travel stories.
So the day has finally come to start our trip and we wanted to travel to Poland. All our things were packed up. We were ready to hitchhike for the very first time, but then my father heard about our plans and he was a little afraid, even more than we were. So he decided to just drive us to Poland for the like the first part of the trip was just driving us
6 or 7 hours.
Yeah. It was a very long trip, but then somewhere in Poland,
He dropped us off and we went to the next petrol station and started hitchhiking. Kind of
exactly.
ironic, but
And it was amazing. Like the first time hitchhiking ever was so nice. We met a friendly family. They invited us to their home and shared some dinner with us, and we exchanged our stories, and it was such a great experience. So we were very, very happy to keep on hitchhiking for the rest of the trip.
yeah, the first experience was just so nice, and we thought we will never do something else again, because if everyone is that friendly, why is nobody doing it? So yeah, it was really special. Okay, and now before we tell you more about our whole trip and all the countries we visited in detail, and if it was possible to stick to our 5 euros per day rule, for example, I have to say that this kind of traveling is not something everyone can do. At first, of course, it sounds like a big adventure, but it's also very exhausting. You have to leave your comfort zone every single day, again and again. It's very uncomfortable. You sleep in a tent on the floor. You won't be able to shower each day. You have bad experiences. You cry sometimes because things just don't work out. It's not like the dream vacation. It's definitely something different. But if you don't have much money, it's a great way to see the world. And on the trip we realized that this way we really meet the people, because we were staying with them all the time when we did couch surfing, and we got to experience the country like it really is. It was very, very special. Not like a tourist trip, but something deeper.
So Poland was the first country we traveled to, and we were very nervous if our plans would work out. The first night we actually slept in our tent near train tracks, which was a very spooky experience. But after a few days we started to get comfortable with this way of traveling.
We crossed the Baltic states, where it was very easy to stick to our 5 euro per day rule.
In Finland, camping got harder because it rained just non-stop. Around that time, we already had our first big learning of the trip. So after consuming the media for our entire lives, we thought the world is not a nice place, but everyone we met was just incredibly friendly and offered us food, a ride, or a place to sleep.
In Norway, the impossible became possible. A family gave us their car for 2 weeks for free because they wanted us to explore their beautiful country.
In the UK and Ireland, we actually started to film our first videos, and if you've been following us for a while, you know that we are content creators nowadays, and this is how we earn our money, so it basically all started here.
While crossing Italy and the Balkans, we got rid of many things that we thought we needed but ended up never using. It's quite funny that our whole lives were able to fit into a tiny backpack if you consider that I was a shopaholic before the trip. Over the past weeks, we just completely stopped consuming.
In Turkey, we met the most hospitable people ever, and it was almost impossible to spend money because everyone invited us all the time.
We then left Europe and made it to Georgia and Armenia, where the trip started to feel like a crazy adventure. We loved every single second of it, made lots of friends, went hiking, and still sticked to our roots.
To enter Iran, we first had to break those rules, because from now on we needed many expensive visas. A lot of people warned us of coming to Iran because it's considered to be dangerous, but it became one of our favorite countries. Yes, women don't have many rights and there are punishments for a lot of things. However, you'd always have to keep in mind that the government is completely different than the people who suffer from it. They made our time unforgettable, and we did couch surfing for 6 weeks straight.
We then entered a part of the world we didn't know much about, the Eastern countries. Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan shocked us in many different ways, but also surprised us with their incredible beauty. Even though hitchhiking didn't work that well anymore, we had to spend more money on buses. We met the most interesting travelers from all over the world and got really sick for the first time, which made our bond so much stronger.
So after 10 months on the road, we made it to China and felt really exhausted. Here we also had our first big rule break, but we needed to rest so badly. That's why we booked an apartment in Beijing, where we just relaxed for a few weeks. We continued our trip across China and got a bit of a culture shock, but in a positive way. We really liked it, even though hitchhiking was very, very difficult due to the language barrier.
Afterwards, we spent around 800 euros per person to book a tour to North Korea, which is the only way to enter it. The time here was not comparable to our journey over the past year, but was very educational.
To visit South Korea, Japan and Taiwan, we had to fly obviously, and the countries were pretty expensive, so we couldn't stick to our rules. It wasn't that easy to make new friends here, but we still enjoyed our time a lot.
In Southeast Asia, we felt the urge to change our travels a little bit. Since transportation, food and accommodation were pretty cheap, we almost stopped hitchhiking and barely did any couch surfing. During that time, we visited Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore and the Philippines, and sometimes even booked expensive hotels because we wanted to, treat ourselves a little bit for not spending much money over an entire year. We also started consuming again, but soon realized it doesn't bring us much joy and just a heavy backpack.
India was just a little bit too much for us, to be honest. We stick to our rules again, but met many people who were not that nice to us.
In Nepal, we hiked for several weeks and then made it to Bali, where we met my family again after so much time and spent a holiday together.
Then we flew to Australia, but after almost 2 years of traveling, we felt a bit homesick for the very first time actually, and thought about ending the trip soon.
But before, we still wanted to see the United States, so we took another flight and explored LA and New York, where we spent a lot of money because we knew we would go home from there.
Going home was much harder than we thought, because everything we had left behind was still the same, but we had changed a lot. So it was difficult for us to just continue where we left.
It took some time to figure it all out. We ended up studying business psychology and became self-employed with social media. We also adopted our dog Felix and traveled the world with him. But you probably already know that.
All in all, we were able to spend less than 20,000 euros in total in these 2 years, and it was the best investment in our relationship, our education and our happiness. This was our story on how we traveled the world together.
On a low budget.
On a low budget. And thank you so much for watching it. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. So
That would be so nice.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!